Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing good. If you're not, then I don't know what to do about it. Recently, I've actually watched Evil Dead Burn, and the title did not disappoint. There was a lot of burning, and I'm just here to talk about it and tell you how much I liked it. But I will say, I think it was a step below Evil Dead Rise. But before I talk about the movie and stuff like that, I'm gonna do a quick summary about what happened in the movie. So, the movie starts off with two fishermen, Leo and Jared. So, they're hanging out together, just two friends having a good time fishing. And Jared, he gets a phone call from his girl. And Leo is telling him don't answer because they're supposed to be spending time together, not spending time with his girlfriend. And Jared really doesn't listen to anything that Leo says and still answers the phone and goes into the woods to talk to his girl on the phone, which is a big mistake on his part because that Leo is now gonna die. So Leo notices that one of the fishing rods starts unraveling, and like any normal person, he got the fishing rod and started reeling as fast as he could. But instead of a fish, he caught a head. So he gets really scared, and then he throws the fishing rod into the water with the head still attached to it, and he runs away, I'm guessing to tell Jared what happened. And as he's turning around, a bunch of fishing hooks grab onto his face and then pull him down into the water. So after Leo's pulled down into the water, it starts to rain really badly, and Jared comes back from his phone call to tell Leo that we need to get out of here because it's raining really bad, but he notices that he's nowhere to be seen. But then he spots him in the middle of the lake yelling for help. So Jared gets on his boat and rides all the way over to Leo. There's something in the water that's really mysterious and they have no idea what it is. And it's probably Jessica, of course. And he gets pulled down a bit, and then Jared tries to pull Leo up. When he finally gets to do that, Leo is cut in half with his intestines coming out of his back. It's like if a shark just bit your lower half. That's basically what it looks like. So Jared, obviously being terrified because his friend literally just got cut in half for no reason. Not no reason, he just doesn't know what did it. He throws Leo inside the water. I don't remember much, but he throws him. I'm just gonna guess that he throws him inside of the water, and something flips over the boat, just a loud bang. It was really loud in the movie theaters. And then he gets flipped over, and then he tries to get on top of the flipped over boat. And you can see Jessica looking down on him like it's Anakin Skywalker. Jessica throws her hand out, and then the water just starts boiling a bunch. Jared just keeps on yelling and yelling because it's really hot. And then a bunch of fish just start floating at the top of the water just to, show that it was really hot. So the next scene, it cuts to him going to the shore, and he dies because of all the heat. He's literally cooked alive. And to be honest, I don't really know how he got all the way to the land, but it's just movie magic. So after that, you can see Jessica come up from the water, and as she's coming up, she actually steps on Jared's hand. And when she steps on Jared's hand, it just crumbles into pieces. Like, it's tender. It's like if you cooked a perfectly tendered fish. It was really gross. And after that, it cuts to at least 4 friends inside of a club, and it starts with a girl twerking in front of the camera for at least 10 seconds. It felt like forever. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if someone was able to bust just watching that scene. Yeah, but besides the point, we have the 4 characters, Alice, Thea, Joseph, and Will. So Alice is in a abusive relationship with Will, and at the time it's Joseph's birthday, so they're all together. And Thea is actually Joseph's girl, I think. I actually don't even know at all. I really don't remember. I was really confused at the time because they were just kissing each other over and over, and I didn't know who was together and who's who. So they get outside the club, and Alice and Will, they have a fight over some personal stuff because Alice is in an abusive relationship and obviously doesn't like Will. This one time they had a fight, and then he knocked over some boiling water that got onto Alice's stomach and then burned her, which she has a scar now. So they say some personal stuff about each other that obviously hurt each other's feelings, and Alice soon walks away. Will gets into his car while he's still drunk, and he goes onto the road, where he's in the middle of nowhere. There's a bunch of trees and stuff, and while in the middle of the road, he sees Jessica, and then he brakes really hard because he thinks it's a person, not a really scary demon. So he then crashes his car, flips over a bit, and then falls off like a cliff. Then he reaches for his phone. He drops it because his car is flipped over, and you can see Jessica inside of his car, and she's kind of like upside down, just laying down, and then she says something I don't remember though, but then her head slips off like that one Tendernism guy on Instagram where the meat just falls off a bone. It was kind of like that, and then the head speaks and then casts like a spell on the car or something, and then Will burns alive. So since he dies, there's obviously gonna be a funeral for him. At the funeral, he has Joseph, Alice, and Thea, and his mom and dad. I don't think his grandma was there. I don't recall his grandma being there. Yeah, but they say some speeches about him and how much of a good person he was, which is a lie because he was a terrible person that is abusive. So then they finally take the coffin over to turn him into ashes. I think it's really weird to get ashes. It's kind of like having a dead body in your house just in ashes form. I don't know, that's just my opinion, but before I go off topic, I'm going to talk about this. As he's getting put into the furnace, it's a, well isolated room and nobody is allowed to go inside of there except for the person that's gonna be turning him into ashes. So his dad knocks on the door of the room where he's gonna get burned, and the dude that's gonna put him in the fire says that nobody can go inside of there. He convinces him, telling him, it's his final moments with his son. Why would you not let him go inside there? Of course. So he says some words to Will inside of the coffin, and he hears and sees a loud bang inside of the coffin, and like anybody would, they would start breaking it open. He grabs like a pickaxe or something, I don't really know what it was kind of like a 4 pickaxe, and starts breaking it open. And when he finally does break it open, there's a little hole and an arm comes out, and just imagine a Minecraft magma block in a form of a person. That's basically what it looked like. An arm popped out, and then I'm pretty sure, I don't remember, but I think he gets like touched on the arm and then he gets thrown to the wall. The guy that is working there, he walks into the scenery and then he gets killed. You don't really see him get killed, it's just a bunch of blood splashing everywhere. Okay, so I think I've told you enough of the main story, because who would just watch the movie and then listen to somebody retell the movie again? Not like something new is gonna happen. So I'm gonna tell you about my opinion also. There was a bit of comedy inside of it, which makes sense because it's the Evil Dead franchise. I don't really know what to call it. Is it a franchise? Is it like a series? I'm just gonna call it a franchise, so maybe I'm using the word wrong. And the comedy revolved around the grandma because she said a bunch of stuff, like funny stuff about money. But I do feel like the enemies in the movie were a little bit less intimidating. I feel like it was less scary than Evil Dead Rise. And I think the reason for that is because the Deadites actually have like a personal objective to get. So basically in the family tree of Joseph and Will, I'm pretty sure it's their grandfather. He owned the record that was played inside of Evil Dead Rise. But he doesn't just have the record, he actually has the weapon to kill the Deadites, the weapon to vanquish and their weakness to the Deadites. So basically, if one of the Deadites gets stabbed by one, they would die instantly because it's enchanted by some mysterious power that can kill them. So I don't really know the Deadites' plan. I guess their plan is to take it away from the humans and then kill everyone. I don't really know, but I'm guessing that's their idea. But I feel like that made the Deadites less scary, because you know how the Deadites are usually just there to make the humans disgusted and really scared and just torment them. They actually just wanted to get the freaking dagger. But there was still some parts where the Deadites just wanted to freak out the humans, like the time where Thea got possessed and then went inside of the home. There was like one of those car seat like headrests inside of her cheek, and then she pulled it out, and then she went over to a burning candle and then said cheers to the perfect family, started drinking the really hot wax, and then freaked out everybody. And also there was a scene where the dad just kept on shooting himself in the head just over and over. It freaked out everybody. There was a lot of gross scenes where the Deadite of Thea went over to the grandma and took her dentures out of her teeth, and then after that just started licking it and sucking out it like it was a lollipop, and then put it back into the grandma's mouth, and it was really gross. I really didn't like it. Remember how I mentioned that the dad just kept on shooting himself over and over? That gave him a very bloody mouth and made the mother of the family make out with him basically, and it was really gross. There was his saliva was basically replaced with blood, and then they were licking each other. It was disgusting. So I just remembered this while I was editing, and the audio is probably gonna sound really bad because I'm on the laptop microphone. I don't have my real microphone with me. But I just wanted to say that the ending scene was like really cool. Like the main final boss, Will, actually came back, and then he was all burnt up. He still looked like a magma cube from Minecraft. It was Alice, the main character. They did like a really cool transition with her head, and then they like turned it around or something like that. But basically the house was burned down, and then Will was oro farming like at the porch of the doorway. It looked really cool, and I feel like that just gave the movie like 5 extra points. And also me and my cousin laughed at parts that I don't think were meant to be funny. Maybe it was meant to be funny, I don't know, I didn't make the movie. But at one point it was Joseph and the dad, they were like fighting on the roof or something, and it was really quiet, you couldn't hear anything. And then it just randomly, you could hear either one of them just yell, and then they crashed through the roof, and it caused like a bunch of stuff to break inside of the house. So me and my cousin thought that was really funny, and we couldn't laugh for like 30 seconds. I almost died. So overall, I think it's just a step below Evil Dead Rise. I don't think it's terrible, like it's abysmal, but it's just, you know, it's just a step below Evil Dead Rise. Alright, thank you for watching. Goodbye.